Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode. And if you are on video, you can probably see the tears on my face. Tonight's episode is tender to me and something that felt really important when starting this podcast was, yes, sharing my education, my knowledge, my specializations, and getting information out. And the other thing that feels really important to me is also to show up in my seasons of life, in my stories, in my vulnerability, in hopes that when I do that, that it will reach just even one mama who needs it in that moment. So tonight's episode is coming from a place that's very real and raw to me in my life right now. But I thought that maybe by sharing it, it will land for someone as well. And so tonight I want to talk about postpartum. Tonight I want to talk about this disconnection from our bodies. And if your pregnancy was anything like me, you spent 9-10 months pouring into your body. I mean, I remember from the moment I found out I was pregnant, my hands were on my body, holding my belly, loving on my body. I meditated daily, just being with my body, admiring my growing belly, admiring my body. Of course, moving through those shifts and changes of accepting my growing body. I spent 9-10 months listening and pouring affirmations over myself, speaking life and positivity and belief into my body, into what I was capable of, into peaceful being, peaceful frequencies over my body. I poured into the nutrition I was eating. I made sure everything was taken care of for myself. I rested when I needed rest. I made sure even the positions I held my body in were going to be the most beneficial for my body and for my baby. And then we have our baby. We go through that big portal that is birth. And then we get to the other side. And you have those first 6 weeks that are beautiful and chaotic and challenging. Whether you're a first-time mom or a seasoned mama, you're functioning off of less sleep, you're wearing diapers or large pads, you're literally leaking out of everywhere you didn't even know you could leak from. I mean, you're sweating, your boobs are leaking, you're bleeding, you're crying, all of it just coming out. It's this sort of like beautiful mess as you're learning these new roles, how to function on less sleep, how to partner or co-parent with your spouse if you have a spouse, or if you're doing it by yourself, how to adapt to this new role. And then at the 6-week mark, we go to our doctors and our doctors say, cool, you reached 6 weeks. Check, you're all good. You're all put back together. Go out into the world, be productive again. Go back to your work, mother, clean the house, have sex, do all the things. You're all good to go. 6 weeks, you've passed the check mark. With absolutely no time and space dedicated to observing all of the layers of the woman in front of them to see, is she back to normal? Or even acknowledging that there is no back to normal, back to who you were before. So in this new stage of becoming, of understanding, of morphing and expanding into this new version of ourselves, is the woman in front of me. Is she okay? Is she good? Is she thriving? Is she thriving emotionally, mentally? Is she thriving physically? How are her hormones? How are her tissues? How's her lymphatic system? How's her nervous system? We don't have doctors doing that, OBs, many midwives, sitting for an hour and a half to understand on every layer, how are you? And for most of us, that's the last time we see our doctor. That's the last time we have someone checking in on us. For a lot of women after that, they move into taking their child to the pediatrician once a month, every couple of weeks, for the well checks, whatever that may be, and the focus shifts to the baby. And I know, and trust me, focus has to be on the baby. I mean, I have poured my time and attention into my son. I've been present with him, all the things. Yes, our babies need us, but our babies also need us to be well. Because as the babies, their nervous system is our nervous system. They feel everything. And after the baby comes, everyone wants to come visit the baby. They want to hold the baby. They want to bring things and buy things for the baby. And so quickly it becomes that the mother becomes forgotten. The mother is not checked in on. Where are the visits for the mother at 12 weeks, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year out, 2 years in? Where is the connection, the points of checking in with mother, saying, Mother, are you okay? Are you feeling held as you hold, as you pour in? Are you feeling held and connected as well? We have skyrocketing challenges coming at mothers postpartum, whether you want to label it anxiety and depression or mood disorders. It's skyrocketing. And it's not from breastfeeding. It's not from certain ways we're parenting. It's coming from a lack of support, a lack of checking in, a lack of educating the mother on how she is new. You are new. When we become mothers, when we birth our children, we birth ourselves. We are never going back to the woman that we were before we became mother. We are never going back to that body. We are never going back to that way of being. And instead of really sitting in the grief and the understanding that we're not going back to that, and there is this whole new being awaiting us to fully merge into. We have a society pushing us into culturally saying, go back to who you were, get the body back, bounce back, do all the things you did before, be invincible, work a full-time job and be a full-time mom, or be a full-time mom and don't have a career, take care of the house, lose yourself in that. We have all of our friends and family well-being as they are, checking in on the baby, but no one's checking in on the mother. No one's checking in on all of the layers of the mother. And we, as the mother, stop checking in on ourselves. We stop saying, what am I needing today to make sure that my cup is full? What am I needing today to make sure that my body feels nourished? I spent all that time pregnant, connecting to my body, to my womb, to my baby inside of me, thanking my body for what it was doing. And for the first time tonight, I sat and I started to thank my body for all that it's done. So I want to take a moment, and no matter if you're pregnant, trying to conceive, or postpartum, I want you to take a moment with me wherever you are, if it's safe for you to close your eyes. And I want you to put your hands on your belly, on your womb. And I want you to take a big, deep breath into that space. And I want you to thank your womb for carrying that beautiful baby. Whether it's a future baby, the baby that's in there now, or specifically this episode for my postpartum mamas, thanking your womb for carrying, for growing that beautiful baby. And then if you breastfed, placing your hands on your breasts and thanking your body for nourishing and feeding your baby. And on your heart, on your beautiful heart that is watching part of itself walk outside of your body, your heart that is so caring and tender and loving, your heart that keeps giving and giving and giving even when you feel depleted. Thanking your beautiful heart. And wrapping your arms around your body and thanking your body. And also reminding your body that as you hold everyone else around you, that you're also holding you too. Feeling that gratitude, even if it feels small, for all that your body has done for you, all that it is doing. For the carrying baby in one arm while you run around the house and accomplish everything else with the other arm. For the mind that packs the snacks and the food and the diapers and keeps everything moving and rolling. Thanking the body for moving through those nights of no sleep. The nights and the days where your babies just need you. Taking a moment to just be with you. With you in this new expanded version of self. Perhaps saying hi for the first time. I think such an important aspect that we have to bring in is gratitude for self and connection back to our beautiful bodies. It's so easy postpartum to get caught in the mind, in the fear, in the what ifs, in the rights and wrongs of parenting, of how to do this and that. It's so easy to become disconnected. And especially in the Western culture, in so many other cultures, they have beautiful ceremonies. One in particular that has to do with actually closing the spaces in your body to close the energy portals. I mean, we carry life. Now you have this huge wound and open portal. That portal needs closing. It needs honoring for all that it did. But we just rush back in. We rush back into all of these things that we have to do and complete and be, instead of honoring the passage that we just went through, honoring the journey that we just went through, and just taking a moment just to wrap it all up, to check in with self. And we have so many things happening in the postpartum mind, across the emotions, across the mental space, the anxiety, the depression, these spaces. And the problem for me, where I see it most, where I've felt it in myself, is this absolute disconnection from self. You go from being connected during pregnancy and thrown into the newness of motherhood without the support, without the checking in, without being mothered, without being tended to and held. And in that, we get so busy carrying and loving on this new baby who needs so much of us. And even if we've had great practices before birth and before moving through that portal, sometimes, it's easy to lose them. And then we're parenting alone these days. We don't have the village. We don't have our mamas living with us, or our grandmas, or our sisters and our friends. That's so rare to have that group of people that you can trust with your baby to say, hey, I need a second. And now with the rising cost of everything, even if you do have a spouse, they're back at work, busy working. And then on top of that, so many mamas have to head straight back to work. And then you add in there maybe birth trauma that you may have gone through. So many women have breastfeeding trauma that's coming from lack of education, lack of support, lack of understanding of how we work. So you add all of these things up. Then you also add that you're busy and maybe not feeding yourself as you should, not eating the best foods, or maybe barely eating at all. You're depleted on every single space and energetic level that you can be. And we're wondering why it's on the rise, wondering why we're feeling so cut off. I mean, today I found myself just feeling like I'm living from my head, like I can't trust myself to make decisions for me. When it's coming to my baby or my family, I feel so connected in and I'm in that intuition. But when it felt like actually just trying to figure out what was going on with me, I felt this disconnection. And I was understanding is I'm feeling disconnected from my body. My beautiful sister Alexandra just brought me back into that space of, are you connected in? Have you tended to your body? Have you reconnected with your body, with every single part of you that you were so connected into during pregnancy? And I realized, no, I haven't taken a second to honor and thank those parts of me, to check in and say, what are you needing? Getting so caught up in the busyness of life and the excitement of watching my baby grow and wanting to be so involved and wanting to do all of these things to make sure that he is taken care of and feels safe and supported and connected and nourished, and that I'm, doing everything I can to set him up so I lessen the amount of trauma, so I lessen the amount of wounding that he has. But he's a human, so I know he's going to go through it as we all do, but trying to do my best to not contribute to that, to really being that safe space. And in the process of that, I have not been my own safe space. I have not been honoring what I'm needing and not been checking in with myself, connecting to my body. And so that's what I want to bring forward tonight. I just want you to know that if you're in postpartum and you're having a hard time, that I see you and I know what that's like. And postpartum is not just those first 6 weeks. Really, we're always postpartum after we have kids. So even if you had kids 4 years ago and you find yourself struggling to feel like yourself, like you know yourself, like you're connected, like you can really understand what's going on, if you're finding it hard to feel like you're thriving, I want you to know that that is normal. It's normal because of how our society is set up. It's normal because of what we're programmed to do. And I'm saying, let's stop that. Let's put a stop to that. And my plan is to bring you all of the resources that I have been finding myself to help me come back into my body. Not go back to who I was before, but come back into my body and to really get to know this new version of me. What does the new voice of my intuition sound like? What am I needing to feel taken care of? In my relationship with my husband, how are my needs different? How is it that I receive and need love? How can I love myself? How can I mother myself? How can I choose to nourish myself? What am I needing in that? And how can I make sure that just with exact emphasis that I do for my son, making sure that all of his needs are met, how can I also do that for self? And it can be really hard when you have a little one needing you and your schedule is different and everything's moving. But it's finding those pockets of time that you take, and it doesn't have to be a lot. It can be as simple as the practice as I did earlier. It's just about doing the small things to reconnect, because the more we reconnect, the more we understand what we're actually needing. Like maybe a good cry. I spent a lot of my afternoon and evening just feeling those tears moving, just allowing that. allowing those emotions, those feelings to be present, feeling the grief of moving through that I'll never be the person that I was before, feeling the grief of forgetting myself, forgetting to take care of myself, forgetting to check in for myself. Feeling the depletion of what it takes to be a really present parent. Feeling what it feels like to be depleted to run a business and be a parent. Feeling also on top of that, the depletion of just life these days, the energy, the movement, the chaos in the outer world, just feeling that depletion. Getting super aware of all of the spaces and the places where I have let myself down. Getting aware of all the spaces and the places where I feel like as a society, I have been let down from society, where as a society, we are letting mothers down. Getting really aware, owning my part that I played, and starting with a simple practice of just thanking my body. You know, I'm 18 months postpartum now, and I'm still breastfeeding. My son has never taken a bottle. That is a beautiful gift, and it's also a sacrifice. So honoring the sacrifice that I have made out of love, I've done it out of pure love and nourishment for him. I have been devoted. Being a mother is the perfect example, definition of devotion. I've been so devoted to my son, and I absolutely love that and would not change a thing. And I will remain devoted to him throughout the rest of his life, shifting and changing in the ways that he's needing. And it brought me back to being devoted to myself. Pouring into myself the love and attention that I pour into my son. And I can almost hear the collective noise of like, but when? When do you find the time? How do you make that happen? It's these little moments. It can take 5 minutes. It can take 2 minutes. But these little connections back start to strengthen the voice so we can hear it even amongst the noise of, hey, this is what I'm needing today. And then finding ways to make that happen. It also brought forward a commitment to me that one of my offerings moving forward is to be that person for women, to be your check-in, to be that year of care postpartum, right? During pregnancy, you go to your OB, to your midwife so often, once a month, then every 2 weeks, then every week. Well, we need that on the other end too. So we can check in with every layer of your being to understand and support you with where you are in all these different transitions. To bring you back into your body, to connect you back, to help give you space for you to process everything you went through, to process the grief of what it means to move from one being to the next, from maiden to mother, to process and move through how your tissues are, your lymphatic system, your nervous system, your blood, your hormones. We need those visits too. We need that care. We cannot be put on the back burner as mothers because we are at the center of it all. And I've seen this time and time again, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again because we all need it. And hell, I need this reminder too, that when the mother is taken care of, when the mother starts to make changes for herself, it ripples into the family. it ripples into the world. So this is a reminder to me as I am sharing this with you. I'm speaking this into myself so I can go back and listen to this as well, that we're at the center, so we have to take care of ourselves first. We have to be in the honoring of what we've been through, what we've done, and then also in the honoring and the space of allowing ourselves to become. And what I think is also so uncomfortable and where we really lack is we are so uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, with being in the void, in the stillness, with being with the death of our old self, with being in the stillness and the space between of who we were and who we're becoming in this new role. And this happens not just when you become a first-time mom. This happens every time because you become and expand something new. You become a new layer, a new level of yourself. And so how can we give space to being in the stillness, to being in the uncomfortable, to being in the in-between of not knowing exactly who we're becoming, but giving space to slowly meet her, to slowly become acquainted with her again. I say again, but for the first time. Allowing space for you to be someone totally different, allowing space and grace for your body to look totally different, allowing yourself space to become confident in the differences that your body has done. I mean, you expanded to grow this human. Of course, your body is not going to look the same. So giving space to find time to learn how to love this new version of you, to slowly unwind all of this cultural beliefs, these societal beliefs saying that we have to look the way we did before, that we have to be in society the way we were before. We have to be X, Y, and Z to be pretty, a good mother, et cetera, et cetera. How do we unwind all of that? Tune it all out and allow ourselves just to come back into connection first with our body, just tuning in, just saying, hi, I see you. Thank you for all you just did for me. That's where it gets to start. And then from there, creating space to be in the stillness, in the in-between of taking as long as it takes to recover. And something that can also be so detrimental is rushing into that next pregnancy. I know so many women do it just because they feel they have to because of age or because of, oh, well, you need your kids to be close in age. And if that's what you want to do it. Absolutely. But only doing it because that is the desire. That is what you're hearing and being spoken into of like, okay, it's time and I'm really ready for that next, but not doing it out of pressure. We've got to stop doing things out of pressure from a disconnected and depleted space. It took time to grow that baby, and it's going to take time to heal from that, and then also to fully settle into your new skin of who you are. So it's my commitment to shift and change how we take care of our mamas postpartum. And I'm starting with me. How I'm reconnecting to myself, how I'm understanding my body, my mind, my emotions, my hormones, my tissues, my nervous system, every layer of my being, starting from the light body around me into my physical body, checking in, being really present, and starting to really understand on every layer, how am I different? What am I needing? What am I missing? How can I pour love and devotion into me the same way that I do to my son, the same way that I do to my husband? Because I need care too. You need care too. We deserve care and love and attention in the way that we pour into our kids. And I promise when we do that, when we feel full, we will be able to parent so much better, so much deeper, so much wider. Because parenting is a reflection, it is a mirror. And we are only capable of giving love that we give to ourselves, of offering grace to others that we do to ourselves, of being okay with experiencing our toddler, our child, our spouse feeling an emotion that we are comfortable with ourselves feeling. It is all a mirror in life. And so we've got to start here. We've got to start with ourselves. And it's time to drop from the head where it gets so easy. I mean, all the worries and the fears that we feel postpartum as new moms, second-time moms, we feel that, and it's real. And it's so easy to get caught in the head. It's so easy. And it's so easy to do that with the lack of nourishment, with the lack of support, with the lack of community. But I'm asking you and I'm inviting you with me for this week. Let's focus on connecting back to the body by starting with that simple practice that I did earlier in this podcast. Thanking your body for all that it's done for you. Putting your hands on your body. Just holding yourself. Even giving yourself a foot massage, just thanking your feet for all that they carry you through. Let's start there. And I promise over the next few weeks, I'm going to continue this. I'm going to continue this series because I want us as mothers to feel held and supported. And I want to change radically how we take care of our mothers. And I'm seeing those gaps so much. And I'm also claiming responsibility for the part that I played in forgetting myself. And so if that's where you've been, if you felt anxious, depressed, lost, disconnected from self, not able to love your body, experiencing health issues that you never experienced before, or anything new, or that you feel struggles on any kind, I'm inviting you with me to take ownership back where you can take care of you, starting with reconnecting that mind and that brain back to that beautiful body, feeling the energy start to drop back through your whole body. And just starting there. And if you are struggling and craving care, craving support, reach out to me and let's connect. And if you know a mama who is postpartum, please reach out to her and ask her how you can hold her, how you can support her, bring her food, go rub her feet, make sure she's drinking water, go remind her to take a shower. Let's support each other as mothers. Yes, we want to know how the baby is and see the pictures, but also I want to know how you are, mama. I want to know what you need. So let's start doing that as women. Let's start taking care of each other again and showing up for each other in this way that honors the mother, that holds the mother as she holds her baby, as she holds her family. That's how we're going to start to shift this. That's how we can start to decrease what women and families are moving through postpartum. And really, most other countries have a handle on this. The way they go through postpartum is so different. So let's start bringing those practices over here. Let's start demanding better care for ourselves postpartum. And not all of us are going to get to take more than 6 weeks off work. That's not a reality. So when mama has to go back to work, if that's the situation that you're in, how can you set up to make sure that you can still be taken care of, checked in on, and nourished on every single layer and level that you are, so you can still thrive, so you feel nourished and not just depleted and run dry? There's always a way. There's always a way. And it's time we do better. We've got to do better. So from my heart to yours, if you're in it right now, I feel you. And I'm here for you. And I'm ready to radically shift and change how we are cared for in the postpartum season, in our journey of motherhood. And just for today, just for this next week, or even this next month, what could be possible for you if you do that small connection practice back to your body? Just full reverence and gratitude for all that your body has done for you. I'm challenging you to that. And if you're committing to that with me, I'm going to do it. Let's do it for the next month. Let's do it for the next month. Every single day. It takes 2 minutes. You can take as long as an hour if you have it, but 2 minutes. Just connecting in with deep reverence and gratitude. Let's do it. So if you're going to join me, please message me or DM me or leave a review here. I want to know if you're doing it with me so we can hold each other accountable in coming back and being devoted and loving to ourselves. And if you're even struggling with just thinking about doing that, please reach out and let me help you and hold you in this season. All right. Let's do one more big hug for ourselves because I feel like we need it. I'm proud of you. You are doing amazing. You're an amazing mother. Thank you for all you do for your babies, for raising this next generation. And I'm holding you and hugging you, knowing that you are never alone. You are not alone. And if you're feeling that, please reach out to me and let's remind each other that we are not alone ever. We can do this. We've just got to be devoted to ourselves in loving reverence to ourselves. And it will feel so much better when we do that. Good night.